Okay, thank you so much for joining. Can you please provide brief introduction of yours?
Sure, sir. My name is Hamad Basir. Um, I started my career in sales long back in 2019. I joined a startup. It was my first job. My roles and responsibilities were different to what I have been doing right now. Um, it was a totally different job there. I was mostly in sales and also managing Excel reports daily. And from there onwards, I worked there for almost 3 years. And then
Okay.
I actually I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and he encouraged me to get into IT industry because there is a lot of scope and pay packages are better. And he suggested me that I should align or I should explore the opportunity of being in the IT industry. And that's when I started, taking up some coding courses, and I started learning my first programming language, which was Python. Then I learned C++. I got some certifications. Then I started looking for jobs,
Okay.
and then in 2022, I think in July, I got hired by this company, which I'm currently working in. And there I was introduced to ServiceNow. It was a very new thing to me, and it was very exciting. It piqued my interest as to the capabilities of ServiceNow and what we can do with it. And since then, it's been a great journey, and I'm looking forward for more opportunities.
Okay, great. So welcome to the world of service now.
Thank you.
Um, so can you explain how ServiceNow is helping organizations?
Sir, ServiceNow is a cloud application. It is a ticketing tool plus it has operations management. It has um, security management. It has many other things which help businesses around the world make their processes streamlined and efficient and makes their work better and faster. Um, ServiceNow is also built on the ITIL foundation, or the, should I say, infrastructure library, IT infrastructure library, which basically states that you should have incident, problem, change management, and service request management. Also, ServiceNow has uh, its data is stored in this form of CMDB, which is configuration management database. And I think that's all I would say about ServiceNow, how it is helping.
Okay, great. So you are working on scripting?
Yes, sir. So I had started my career in ServiceNow. I was put on a few of projects, and mostly it was a little difficult in the start, but
Mm-hmm.
I have been getting a little better at it. Earlier, I was struggling, but I was introduced to the concept of server-side and client-side scripting. There, I came to know about script includes, business rules, schedule jobs, and then I also have worked on many integrations, simple integrations such as SSO, configuring SSO with the Azure AD. I have also helped and developed inbound integration where the core data, such as the user, department,
Yeah, that's
location.
okay. We will go in that later, but right now
Yes,
just stick to the scripting. So what all APIs you have used in scripting till now?
sir, I have used Glide Record mostly. Recently, I learned about Glide Ajax, and then I have used for REST API. I know how to invoke REST API. Sorry, REST messages. I know how to invoke REST messages within script include. Um, I also know how to use glide datetime a little bit. But
Okay.
mostly I have been working on glide record extensively.
Okay. So what is a glide Ajax then?
So glide Ajax is it's another class which is used in client scripts to call server-side functions.
Okay. Can you give
Yes.
me one example?
Okay.
How
So
you have
basically,
achieved that? How have you used it?
yeah. So I had one requirement where on a form, um, one user, so this one field was a reference field which was being referenced to user table, and all the other fields were string fields, but they had to be populated based on this one particular field. So this was the name field which was being populated from, let's say, a request, right? But
Okay.
based off of that, I had to populate a few more other fields which were also coming from this user table. Like, for example, their title, their manager, and their email address. So I basically prepared a script include where it would be client callable and basically set I would get the parameter which I would have used in this client script. Basically, the parameter would be sysparm, and the parameter would be the actual name or the name of the field which would should be used to search in the script include, and then I would construct a body to be sent as a response to the client script, and then client script will parse that response, uh, and however we like we can parse that response and set all the values on the form by using gform object.
Okay. Great. Great. Okay. So when you use means you have two options at client side, either to write a client script or UI policy. So
Mhm,
when you
mhm.
use UI policy and when you use client script, I think
So
both of them are doing almost same functions, but do we have to, choose which one is
yes,
better? So any
yes.
case in that?
Yes, so client scripts, like for example, just like how I gave this example, if it's a complex operation that you want to do, then you will have to use client script. Then we have UI policies. UI policies are when we want to hide or make field mandatory or uh, make field read only fields. Then we can just make the use of UI policies.
Okay. Okay. So have you worked on business rules?
Yes, sir, I've worked on business rules.
Okay. So can you give me one example of a query business rule?
Uh,
Like,
okay.
first of all, what is a query business rule and any use case which you have used till now?
Query business rule, I haven't used it so far, but I will tell you what it is. So query business rule is used when the data is being okay. So the first operation which goes from the client to the server that to query, right? So when
Mm-hmm.
if if you want to make any change or operation in that particular moment, then you would have to use a query business rule.
Okay.
But I haven't used this so far.
Okay. You used display business rules till now?
No, not display business rules. I have used before and after business rules.
Okay. So any example of when we have used when we will use before business rule? Any use case?
Mm, yeah, actually, I did use before business rules. So there were two instances where I used before business rule. One was when I was developing um, a process where let's say you have a service account password, okay, and it has a password validity for 90 days or let's say 3 months, right? So as soon as that password value changes,
Mm-hmm.
the validity should automatically change. So I came to know that I had put after business rule. It was not working. Then I had to change it to before business rule. Then that is when I realized that I have to use before business rule. So that is one moment where I used before business rule to make that
So,
change.
okay. So why you think after was not working there?
Sir, it might be due to the database operations which are happening. So this change has to occur when it is before it is being inserted, right? So I
Okay.
think that is one logical explanation. Unless I'm wrong, you can correct me.
Okay. Okay. Sure. No problem. I
Uh,
see in your resume that you have worked on data sources, right?
yes, yes.
So can you tell me what is JDBC data source?
Sir, is a Java database connection. It is mostly used to connect to SQL servers, or should I say, relational database management systems, wherever we connecting to those kind of databases. One of the example which we used is when where we have the service graph connectors, especially for like SCCM, JAMF, and so on. I had worked on configuring SCCM connection within
Okay.
mid server. So that is where we use. Basically, it is provided by ServiceNow, the plugin. We just have to activate it, put in credentials, and just make sure all the connections and configurations are working properly. So that is one type of database that we have in ServiceNow.
Okay. Great. Okay. So let's move on to mid servers. So
Sure, sir.
you installed any mid server till now?
I personally didn't install. There was another network team or the Wintel team. I think they will install it. But after installation, I had to basically guide them how to configure it. So
Okay.
that configuration process I know. So basically, what you would require is a first you would have to configure a user profile within ServiceNow with username
Mm-hmm.
and password.
Mm-hmm.
Save those details and also make sure that you have the instance URL, whichever environment you're using, test, dev, or prod. We had for this implementation, we had three separate mid servers for all different environments. We had test, prod, and dev. So dev, we used credentials for dev instance. Basically, we have to input those details when we are configuring the mid server on the Windows machine when the actual server itself is set up.
Okay. So you install the mid servers on Windows machine.
Yes, sir.
Can we install mid servers on virtual machines?
Yes, sir. It was actually a virtual machine.
Okay, it was a virtual machine. So, any kind of issue which you have faced that time?
Yes, sir. We were facing the issue. It was not connecting. We were having multiple issues because we thought the password itself was incorrect, and then we verified the password is correct. And on the SCCM side, the where the actual data resides for the SCCM application, the SQL server, they
Mm-hmm.
need to provide the role which is called DB underscore data reader. So I did this is all from me doing investigation and researching on documents and everything. This is one thing that needs, this is one of the requirements. Second requirements is that the service account which they provide us, it should be the AD account,
Okay.
right? If if it is a local, the problem was that we made a local account profile, and that was giving us issues. Then we told them, please, can you give us an AD account? Then it started working fine.
Okay. Great. So you resolved it. So what you did to resolve it?
They gave us the AD account, and then um, there is one ServiceNow provided support article which tells you that you have to. I'm forgetting the name of the file, but on the desktop on the Windows machine where you're setting up the maid server, you have to set up it's a configuration file basically. You
Okay.
have to set it up and you have to basically select the instance, the SCCM instance. You have to select the database, and it will ask you whether you want to use integrated authentication, or if it's a local account, then it will ask you for the local credentials. So as it was AD account, we were using integrated authentication. So I configured that. Then the setup was fine. We started working. It started working, and we started receiving the data.
Okay. Okay. Great.
Yes.
So let's move on to
Mhm.
change management. Do you know the difference between normal and standard change?
Yes, sir. So normal
Give me one
change is
example of both.
okay. Sure, sir. So whenever you are moving something into prod, or sometimes, okay, I'll just stick to prod for now. Anything, any configuration or any big change that you're moving into production, any kind of production instance, it can be ServiceNow, it can be other related applications, you have to submit a change request. Now,
Okay.
usually people submit a normal change request, and you have to add in a lot of things like when it is scheduled, start date, end date, all the details, and you have to furnish all the details. How long is the change window, and all those things. That's the
Yeah.
normal procedure. And the other one is the emergency change. Emergency change
No,
is
no. I
such
asked
that,
about normal and standard.
oh, okay, sorry, normal and standard. Okay, I'm
These are two
confused.
types, right?
Yes, yes, these are two types. Uh, Standard and normal.
No problem. Take your time.
Normal. Okay. I think I might be confused. It has to be either a normal or a standard change, which I just described, but
No problem.
I'm not sure how
It's
the
okay.
two are different.
Okay. No problem. Just look into it. Okay. After the call.
Sure, sure.
Okay. So now move on to REST API. Have you used
Sure.
REST API till now?
Yes, sir.
So
So,
in which project you have used it? Can you describe the project, the integration where you have used it?
so I have used it in e-bond integration, and this was incident e-bond. It was bidirectional, meaning we had to send data from instance A to instance B, and instance B will again send data back to instance A.
Okay.
So we had REST messages configured for outbound, and then we also had scripted REST APIs for the inbound transactions.
Okay. So what is this scripted APIs? What extra is giving us apart from
So,
normal APIs?
scripted REST APIs are basically custom-made APIs which allows you to handle all kinds of scenarios which are not provided out of the box by ServiceNow. For example,
Yep.
um, out of the box ServiceNow API will, let's say you have an inbound integration, you can use import set API. It will allow any third-party application to send you data, right? But we don't have the capability to send them useful information like logs, messages, or send them responses back for that particular data. In
Okay.
so coming back to scripted REST API, we can have that functionality developed in scripted REST API as per our specifications or whatever client requirements are. So that is one huge advantage.
So do you know any limitation of REST API or you feel till now?
Mm, as per the things that we can do development, there are no limitations, but I think there as per how many calls that are made to the instance, I think we can set it's called set limit rule or something, where we can set the a rule which will dictate that only this many requests will be posted to the instance in this amount of time. I haven't used that, but I know that this functionality exists.
Okay. So apart from REST, any other AP, any other option you have tried,
Um, let's see.
like GraphQL, yeah, or SOAP? You know any of these two?
No, I haven't tried the GraphQL and so far.
Okay. Okay, no problem. Okay, let's move to ACLs now. So have you worked on ACLs?
Yes, sir. I mean, I've not extensively worked, but I just know understanding that every table should have ACL, and all the things that you see in ServiceNow have ACLs. And
Mm-hmm.
I know if I'm given the task to configure ACLs on a given table, I will be able to configure ACLs.
Okay, that's good. So do you know like what is table level and field level ACL?
Table level is basically it checks whether you have first. Okay, so first thing when you have access is you need to have table access, right? And from the table
Mm-hmm.
access, if you want field access, then that's the second thing that gets checked. Field level. So first is table level, then you have the field level access.
Okay. If I suppose I have a scenario where in a table there are five fields. So
Huh?
there is a table level ACL. Okay. Let's say I am a ITIL role person. I logged in and I just opened a table. And in that table, we have three ACLs. Okay. First one
Okay.
is table level, and that needs ITIL role. Second is star, and that also need ITIL role. And then uh, let's say there is a field level ACL, like let's say there is a description field. So that field needs admin role as well. So what else means what I will see when I open that table?
Okay, so the logged in user is an admin or is an ITIL user.
Right now is ITIL,
Okay, so just like you said, table level has the ITIL role, and then
right?
one of the fields has ITIL role. So only since he has only ITIL role, he doesn't have admin role. He won't be able to see the admin field. He will only be able to see the ITIL fields, field and the table.
But I am giving one more ACL, right? That is asterisk. Let's say table dot asterisk. It means I am providing access to all the fields with ITIL role. What will happen then
Okay.
if we have
Oh,
these
okay,
three?
okay. So, okay, one second. So this is only to read, or is it also to write?
Let's say read. All three are read ACLs.
All three are read ACLs. He'll definitely be able to see the two fields which have the ITIL role, right?
Hmm.
And if there is a write role for it,
No, there
then
is
he
no right role. Only read we are talking about.
right. Uh, and admin role is also only read.
Yeah, yeah. See, let me again rephrase.
Okay.
I have a table. In
Yes.
that table, there are three fields. Okay.
Mhm.
And we have three ACLs on that. First one is uh, a table level ACL, that is table dot none. Okay. And
Yes.
it needs ITIL role. Second ACL is table dot star, and it needs ITIL role. Third one is table dot description. This is one of the third field. It needs an admin role. So once a user with ITL role log in, what he will see?
Oh, he won't be able to see the description field.
Why?
because that is an admin. I mean, it says table dot description. So anybody who has the admin role, they will only be able, they will only those people will be able to see the description.
But what about that ACL table dot star where I am giving opportunity for all ITIL peoples to see all the fields? Will it not work?
Uh, uh, I'm not
Are you
sure,
getting
sir.
my point?
Yes, I got your point. There is also a star included, but then again, you also are saying uh, it is a table dot description is having the admin role. Um, I'm not sure in this case.
No, no problem. See, the thing is, as soon as we are more specific, okay,
Hmm.
the other thing will get overridden. So, though I am giving table dot star, which needs ITIL role,
Yes.
okay, so this will be overridden by table dot description because this is more specific. We are not general here. We are talking
Mm-hmm.
about a special field. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So it's okay. No problem. Let's move to something else. Any inspiring moment for you where you get appreciation that you accomplished this amazing thing?
I think the incident E-bond was the very inspiring moment for me because that was very complicated. We had a limit very to develop it. Um,
Okay.
we were working with also we had a middleware in between, and there was this two types of responses that required there. So functional response and there was a technical response. So let's imagine I sent incident is created, data is sent. Okay,
Okay.
then
Great.
they will just send a functional response, and again another response is being sent from them, which is called the technical response, and that has the actual information of their incident number and uh, maybe a task updated or something like that.
Great.
So working with that was very hard uh, uh, when it was challenging.
Nice. Okay. So let's talk about GRC. So what you did in GRC? I see this is in your resume. First
Yes,
of all, do you know what is GRC?
I am familiar with it. It is basically
Any
GRC
business
stands for.
example, any business example, do not go in deep. Just tell me what it is actually doing. Give me a simple example.
GRC it is basically used by, I would say, the financial and banking service and companies. They
Okay.
would require a lot of governance and risk and compliance measures needed for their systems built in. And I think that functionality is provided by ServiceNow.
Okay. Give me example of governance. What do you mean by that? Give me simple example. Let's say you have your team. Okay.
Mhm.
Right now you have a team. How they are not doing governance. Give me one example.
Um, okay. So every team will have a standard operating procedure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if that standard operating procedure, somebody violates those standard operating procedures, I think that would be in non-compliance of governance. There should be some kind of governance involved as to everybody, is working.
Give me example of what the non-standard procedure. There you have various things. Just give me that thing. One
Um,
example.
I-
Think about
uh,
softwares.
okay, so yeah, one thing I can tell you about is, so let us say that I am working, I'm working for a company, right?
Okay.
I should not be sharing company code or data. It is no doubt it is developed by us, but again, it is still company, it is proprietary material, right?
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't be sharing it with any third party or anybody outside of the organization since it is company property. So I think if I do that and then I'm in violation, and this should be, I think, it would be a security and also it would be a very big risk.
Okay.
So
You
I'm
are,
giving.
you are near it, but when we talk about GRC, we mostly deal with business things. Like if
Mhm.
I ask you about the softwares, like so, let's say your company purchased 10 software, but these 10 softwares are shared by 20 people. So this is a big compliance issue. Okay.
Oh, okay,
So when
right,
some audit happens, so they will see, okay, so we
right,
are
right,
charging 10 and they are using 20, 100 or how many are not means they are
right.
cheating, right? So this
Yes,
is kind of things when we talk about GRC. Coding example, it's a very extreme one, but yeah, you are getting it. So just try to, come up with good examples.
okay, sure.
Okay,
Sure.
okay. So now uh, one more question before we wind up. Uh, you are doing event management. You worked on event management.
Not the event management application, but I had the opportunity to work on it, but it moved to the other team.
Okay, no
Um,
problem. Let's come to next question then. You are doing coding, right? You are writing code. So can you tell me at least four best practices while we write code in ServiceNow?
okay, so let us say that we are developing uh, a script for a business rule, right? We have to make sure that our entire code is not set up in business rule. Our
Mm-hmm.
entire code lies in script include, and we should call that script include in the business rule. Second thing is that making proper use of functions.
Mm-hmm.
That is very major thing. We have to use functions. It should be encapsulated, and we have to use. We have third thing would be we have to make the use of comments.
Okay.
Fourth thing would be logging. What should I say? I don't know the other word for it, but logging important information to the system logs. Let's say you're sending a payload to an external system. I can log that payload to the system log so that I don't have to go back to the script again and again to see what has happened. I can just go to the system logs and see that, okay, at this particular line, this particular line is executing, this block of code is executing. I can come to know of that. So these are like the main things. Whenever you're scripting, you have to make sure that you do best practices in ServiceNow.
Okay. Okay. Great. Uh, Last thing, have you used Integration Hub?
Integration hub. Um, I
You
haven't
men
used Integration Hub, but I know what its features are.
so, but you have
I was
written in your resume that proficient in developing integration using Integration Hub. Okay,
I
so yeah, uh, just write means whatever is written in your resume, you have to be at least very sure about that thing.
Mhm.
Okay, this is my feedback.
Right.
Whatever you have written,
Mhm.
it's okay. You have write it down, no problem. But if you are writing it in your resume, you should know it. You must have at
Mhm.
least two example with you, and these examples should be top notch. Okay. So just
Okay.
try to come up such things, try to come up with such examples. Various options are there. You can ask someone, you can
Okay.
ask, Chat GPT, you can
Yeah.
ask
Yeah.
or you can search on web. Various options
Yes.
are there. So whatever
Yes.
you are writing, make sure you know that thing. This is the first and foremost thing that you have to take care while you go for any interview. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sure.
So rest other thing, I think you are confident enough and you are communication skill is good. You are able to communicate. You are able to provide what the interviewer is asking for in a very good
Mm-hmm.
manner. That's fine. Just focus on these things. Okay. Only one thing is one more thing I have observed. Like, so just
Mm-hmm.
concentrate or just talk about only one topic which was asked. Do not
Okay.
go in continuous trail.
Okay.
So if I ask you about scripting, please make sure you talk about scripting. Do not add other thing like integration and I did that and that. That's okay. Just tell only that thing which was asked. Okay.
Okay.
So rest other thing is fine with you, and your communication is good. Your confidence is good. Just focus on examples and few other
Sure.
things which I mentioned.
Okay, sure. Thank you
Okay.
so much, sir,
So
for the
yep.
feedback.
I hope we are done, and all the best for your interviews.
Thank you, sir, so much.
Thank you. Bye.